Good evening, viewers. Welcome to yet another lecture of EML Webinar Series 2020-2021. I am Anshit Parana, second year BTech student, and I and Alina will be hosting today's webinar. We hope today's webinar brings you the much needed break and most importantly, the hope, strength, and positivity to keep moving forward in these unprecedented times. Our speaker today is a film composer, record producer, and singer-songwriter who has redefined contemporary Indian music. From Roja and Bombay to Slumdog Millionaire and Basanti. Okay, he has composed some of the finest music in Indian musical history. As you all know, it's none other than the Mozart of Madras, A.R. Rahman. Born in Madras, he graduated with a diploma in Western classical music, beginning his career as a film composer in the Tamil film Roja. He went on to produce several captivating tracks in Tamil, Hindi, Malayalam, and other languages. He is a Grammy and Academy Award winner and has several national and Filmfare Awards to his credit. He was honored with the Padma Bhushan Award in 2010 by the Government of India. He is also an ardent humanitarian and philanthropist. In recent times, we have also witnessed his journey evolve from pure arts and music to filmmaking, mentoring, and curating. He has worked on acclaimed movies such as 99 Songs, Dil Bechara, and has ambitious projects such as Maniratnam's Ponniyin Selvan and newly announced Pipa. He champions representation and diversity through projects like Future Proof and BAFTA's Breakthrough India. We are extremely honored and excited to welcome the musical maestro A.R. Rahman to the webinar. Welcome, sir.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine. Sir, before we begin the session, the musical club of the institute has sent in a small performance by the band, and we would like to screen the video here. We hope you will enjoy that.
கண்மணிய உருத்தோம் காணாதவோ உருவோம் கண்ணுக்குள்ள இனிக்கும் கொண்டால் மாறன் அன்பு வரும் கூண்டலில் ஒளிந்து கொள்ள வரவா
என் கூந்தல் தேவன் தூங்கும் பள்ளி அறையா மலர் சூடும் வயதில் என்னை மறந்து போவதுதான் முறையா
நினைக்காத நேரம் இல்லை காதல் ரதியே சொன்னால் போதும் நின்று வழியிடும் காதல் ஐந்தாறு நூற்றாண்டு வாழ்வோம் வாழ்வே
As
Okay, that was very fantastic, and thank you, Music Club, for that.
That's
So,
very sweet. Yeah, I think in adverse situation, doing something like that. We're all IIT students.
yeah, of course, they are IIT students, Music
Beautiful.
Club members, and
Wishing them the very best. Thank you.
yeah. So, sir, we will begin the session. The music. Sorry, we will begin with the general questions. Sir, you have been venturing into new areas such as mentoring and curating recently. So, your initiatives such as Future Proof, Sunshine Orchestra have been directed and ensured accurate global representation of Indian music, and also it provided platform for India's vast body of talented artists. So, Future Proof is a creative series that's spearheaded by you with an objective to engage and empower artists across the nation. So, under the Sunshine Orchestra, socially and also like economically deprived children with an aptitude in music are provided free musical training. So, could you tell us more about the project? How do you strive to ensure accessibility, diversity in these projects? And also, it would be really helpful for our audience who are budding artists among them.
Sure, there are many questions hidden in this. So I know I didn't come with a formal training in entrepreneurship or business or all the stuff I learned through life. Being a musician, and sometimes in life questions you, why can't you do this? Why is this not happening? For me, I think the main passion is music, of course, but music alone is to sustain what I'm doing in music. I needed to develop many other skills. For instance, we go to a place and we need water, there's a well, and then somebody had constructed the well so that we could take the water out. And these are the things which you never see in music in very similar ways. A musician is trained, and then a composer like me uses all those musicians, but they're trained somewhere. These training were from independent, amazing masters who had been there, like, for instance, in Chennai, Dhanraj Master, Jacob John, Williams, and Moses, and Abdul Sattar. Those amazing teachers taught music, Devakar Master. And so when I was thinking about when I went abroad is when I realized Western music is not being nurtured here. And not just because of Western music. If you need to do film music, you need to give notes to an orchestra. That orchestra needs to be trained in a conservatory so that they can read music. They can play our own Indian music in harmony. So I was thinking there somebody's going to start all this, and nothing happened. And then I felt like I jumped into it. And one day I said, I'm already 40 and I feel like we have to do something about this. And then in no time, announced the K Music Conservatory and the Sunshine Orchestra. Like, if we get students from people are just what they're taught, like children can learn anything. And so opposite to my house, there's a school called MGR School. I said, okay, let's start from your own street. And we pulled out kids and we started teaching them strings with a lot of difficulty. Then we found a way. I got my orchestrator, conductor, Srinivasa Murthy, to mentor them. And then we had teachers from all over the world, Armenia, France, UK, America. We brought them all to Chennai to nurture these people. And so now, after 11 years, they were played in the UN, they were played in Singapore, they were played in some of the best places and now they are also emerging as leaders who can start conservatories in other parts of India. And right now, after all that, their achievements actually, that we've extended the whole program to Nagaland now. And so this also tells us there's a message from this. What I learned is, you don't have to be a particular race or caste or religion to learn knowledge. And knowledge is about how dedicated they are, how passionate they are, and who teaches them. And that proves the question which people think that no, you have to come from, you need a different IQ, DNA from all this. That's BS for us. And it's proved it beautifully that great teachers make great students. And regarding future proof, you said that is Sunshine Orchestra and K Music Conservatory, which is a musical institution. Regarding future proof is again this questions which come to your mind when you travel and when you see. And I was thinking that why is India being dissed in the Oscars or in festivals, and why when a foreigner directs an Indian movie, it's much big success than Indians direct Indian movies. So why is the culture not represented properly? Why are we failing in international awards? We can all say we don't need them, but it's important to portray a culture in the most glorious way, so that there are no cultural invasions here. And we are a multicultural nation. We have different states and different food style, different religions, and different dances, and so many different things, dresses and festivals. And I think this glory needs to be celebrated all over the world, and it is to be rightfully, in the right way, told across the world, so that we don't get attacks from other people, thinking less of us. People fear what they don't know. So it's important that storytelling, movies, art represents what India really needs to up the game of that. And so this future proof is actually an attempt to probably make us all realize the potential and the problem which could happen in future, and probably sow the seed to our generation of people that there is something which we need to do, and also question the boards which actually send our movies, or which select the wrong movies and finally get dissed. There are many other movies which probably could have got the award, but they won't be sent because the understanding is not there. Like one of my friends said, some of us are like frogs in the well, where we think this is the world. There is a world outside the well. And that is important, the movie selection and how our movies are told, in what way artistically. And so future proof is actually something which awakens the mind, and which also tells where we need to reach, where how much more there is to. And yeah, so it's a humble beginning like that from a foundation. So it's for movies, it's for music, it's for innovation, it's for fashion, it is for leadership. So slowly we want to do research, we want to get collaborators so we can put out this, and so that the younger generation realize the length of where we need to travel and exchange ideas, give and take. So yeah.
That truly sounds interesting, sir. And we wish you luck for your endeavor.
Thank you.
So we are very extremely proud and happy that you have been chosen as the BAFTA Breakthrough India Ambassador to identify and support talent in India. As the ambassador, how do you assess talent in India? And what, according to you, are our strengths and weaknesses?
I think being in both the worlds, starting from Chennai and then going to Mumbai or the UK and winning the BAFTA, being in the Academy as a member, and so you kind of get a certain wisdom just by observing things. And India is amazing in movies, to our culture, to our people. And then there's television now. There's also a new thing emerging, which is gaming. And so I was very fascinated that BAFTA was picking candidates who just achieved, so that they can push them, propel them into the real world, where they can exchange, they can nurture, they can network and grow even more, so that the world can witness our Indian talent. And so I was very excited and honored that BAFTA chose me as a breakthrough ambassador. And so it's confidential, we can't say much about it. The selection process happened, and very soon you'll get to know the lucky winners.
Yes, so we are also excited. So how can the Indian government help in this regard? What can they do to nurture talent in India?
There's such a big list I have, but I don't know where to start. First, I felt like especially from in Chennai, after 11, 12 years of K Music Conservatory, and every year when I go sit there and I watch them, I feel like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in Broadway. I feel like I'm in London West End. I feel like I'm in Vegas sitting on a Cirque du Soleil, Sure. And then you realize what we have is 70 to 80 years old art centers. And so we need inspiration. We need things which are world class so that the world comes and performs and we go perform in the world. I think some of the dance artists and classical musicians perform around the world, but is the world coming to us? No, because we have the infrastructure. And the infrastructure is not just about spending money, it's also tourism, joy, and inspiration. Life is about inspiration. When you see something, you get inspired. One movie inspires a person. I'm doing another project called Le Masque, and there is a perfumer which we used, and he was from Algeria, I think, settled in France. He said, I saw a movie called Perfume and I got inspired and I became a perfumer. So a movie inspires a person, a play inspires a generation, or a story inspires a generation. And that's what I think artists should do. In these days of completely, you get brain fried when you watch TV. The amount of negativity and the amount of people pulling you down, pulling each other down, and then ultimately you don't even see any result in this. It's just TRP and personal gains of certain things. I feel like, why would the younger generation get inspired seeing these things? Why can't there be inspiring things coming out? And I think it's a blessing that we have internet. The internet, you could see as a window to the whole world. You don't have to get stuck with the clutter out. And sometimes I feel like it's a gift and a curse, having the internet where you can just go and see the beauty of the world. I got YouTube and I've subscribed to a channel where there's one lady in Norway or something, or Iceland, just living with the husband and then living a life with nature. So this is the kind of inspiration. I think younger generation have to, in the mind at least, go leaps and bounds further and bring that beauty which is lost back to India. Not just beating your chest about the past, but give something for the next generation and the generation next, and what you can be and how forward-thinking all of you guys can be in being the next Apple, being the next Microsoft, being the next Samsung, being the next Einstein, being the next Mozart and Beethoven and Tchaikovsky. And so that is my dream, and that is what Future Proof is trying to do. That is what K Music Conservatory is trying to do. And that's my dream, that we just go off the clutter of all this negative energy and think about the future. Think about what you can give it to humanity, what you can give to our country and the world. Not just our country, but to the world. And
Thank you. So I think that was really motivational. And in these trying times, positivity is what we really need to look forward for. So I think we'll move on to the audience questions. We have sent out a form a couple of days back, and we received an overwhelming response. And our audience is also looking forward to you answering those questions. So the first question is from Harikant Mohandas. So first of all, he wants to thank you for being an inspiration through his music life. He calls himself a bedroom producer, and he finds himself often struggling with creativity. So we want to know how you deal with your creative blocks, and can you also share your creative process?
Creative process is actually, you learn something, the mechanics of things. Like of music, sarigama padanisa, then chords, and then harmony, and then you study something which is beautiful. You dissect and decode it, and the more you decode it, then you you decode it like 20 different songs or 20 different scores, and then you know exactly like the next thing wouldn't be why is he doing that, and everything's about an emotion. Is it triggering an emotion? Is it transporting you to a particular place? And that is the question we always ask. You just close your eyes and, oh, that feels good. Music has that provoking quality which disturbs you in a good way. So it just shakes you up from a state to another state. It takes you to a state where the composer intended you to go. And it's also subjective. It is not that every music is the same for everybody. It depends on your state of mind. Depends on the way you decode the music. Your soul decodes it. And so that is my main thing. And we often get triggered with the cliche, whether it's a love song. And so it's important that how else can you articulate a love song? How else can you articulate a prayer song? How else can you articulate a dance song? And so this will come over time when you practice. I think it will come. But you have to start somewhere and keep doing, and then you'll know what you should not do.
Thank you, sir. So there has been a lot of questions about your creative process especially. So here is a question from Sri Hari. So Ilayaraja sir in many of the interviews has said that he would prefer composing music in the same order of the scenes of the movie. Do you also feel the same way, or do you work on abstract themes and then try to put them all together in the end?
He says what? The same order?
In the same order of scenes as given by the director? Yeah.
So actually, no. I worked with Mr. Ilayaraja, and he has an incredible habit of writing everything for everybody. So we all used to copy the notes, and so I think that's a very good, for that period it is fantastic, because movies were made in tight budgets, and it was only 3 days they had for background scores, or 4 days, and songs had to be done in 3 days, and nobody's stopping us from giving something extraordinary where time is not a concern. They only want the result, and things have changed. Instead of us being judged by 70 people, we can sit alone and think about a song, or we all have limitations. Some people can do spontaneous things, some people go write and come back. We need a space. So I'm of that. I need my space. I need to think alone and then bring the orchestra and do stuff. And over years, I've also learned to be spontaneous. I can sit on a piano and compose something quickly. But there's no pressure. Ultimately, people just want to judge the song by how it is, not how fast you did or how. And about the question about linearity, my process was, because I had to do everything myself those days in Roja. I just had my engineer Sridhar and Siv Kumar assistant, and what I had to do was I would pick up the most dense and complicated scene and start it first, so that I'll have enough time to fill up things, and the climax, the interval, and silent portions of the movie, and then the rest of the stuff will come later. So if I crack these from here, the derivation of that will go before or after. So yeah, that's how I do.
So it's always interesting to know the creative process behind songs, and it's always interesting to learn more about that. So there was also another question from Ankit Janagal. What is the process of composing music? What do you do first? Create a tune or beat, or do you write the lyrics first?
The first thing is to actually, if you take it, it's a feel of, if I need suppose the director comes and tells me, like, the hero is a mystery and he is growing in this particular thing, where you see how he's growing from a common man to a big. So So your texture and your orchestration, everything comes. So you don't have to give it all away in the beginning. The song starts simple and then it becomes bigger and then bigger and bigger and bigger in the end. So you have a mental map of the whole thing, and then you try a few melodies. And this melody could be on the piano first, and then it can have a brass next, and then could have the whole choir and brass and strings and everything later. So it is mentally you start imagining an orchestra. Mentally you start imagining it. So first thing is to find the melody which would resonate, and the director has to say, "I like this melody." And like even John Williams, when he works with Spielberg, you might see a lot of videos on YouTube where some of the biggest orchestral themes he just plays on the piano, and then Spielberg then says, "I like that one," and then you hear the expanded version of that. He writes all the notes, and then he gets an orchestra, and then the glorious sound comes in the thing. Then the director feels like, "Yeah, I'm top of the world. I got, John Williams doing the score," and that kind of thing.
So, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Ilayaraja, sir, in many of his interviews said he would be preferring to composing music according to in the same order of the seeds. Like that, here Srihari wants to know whether you are feeling in the same way, or you do the work on abstract themes and then consolidate them or bring them together.
I just answered that one right now, just before this.
Okay, sorry for that. Yeah, it was a repetition. Sir, congratulations for bringing out the screenwriter in your through 99 songs. So this 99 songs soundtrack was composed by you, and that has struck a chord with listeners. Its multiple songs have been resonating with people across India and the globe. So here Parthiv was asking you, is your screenplay writing an extension of music, or do you ideate on non-musical or movies which don't have musicians as protagonists?
Good question. Whether it's music or whether it's a story, it's all about engagement. Like when you're playing a solo, you play a melody and there's a and I repeat it. It kind of engulfs you, and then it puts a hook onto you. And then you say, it's very good. Where is it going to go? Then I change the chord. Then I go there. And for me, I think even characters are like that. So you first define what the character is, and what are their do's and don'ts, and what are the characteristics. And then you have to orchestrate what their extremeness is, or what their the humor, or how they interact with the other ones, and how they form an ensemble and a polyphony, like how in harmony and in music there is harmony and polyphony, how these two substances can make something else, and how they can engage you in a story. Main thing is we're all oversensitized and desensitized in a way that nothing is satisfying anymore, because there is video coming on the phone and the iPad and the computer and TV and hoardings, and you constantly be unlike before, when you want to see a visual, you had to go to the theater or you had to on the television. Now the various devices set, even a fridge has a display. So what would make that person to sit and watch a movie, and what would engage them? And especially if they have ADD like me. So to engage myself to a story and a character, and why are we telling the story? What influence do you want to make this, and how do you want to? These are the questions which made me a writer, and studying certain things, certain people, like how they take adverse decisions or something, or a decision which you're stunned, where, oh wow, I never knew that this person could do that. And what happens is when they get married, they're different, or when they get money, they're different, or when they lose money, they're different. When another member, they go with a friend, join a good friendship, they're different. When they join a bad friend, it's different. So these are the dynamics which are very, very interesting to see, which kind of made me start writing stories.
Yes, so thank you for that. So the next question, I think, will give you a tinge of nostalgia. So Manjeet Nair wanted to know, have you ever felt in hindsight that you could have done a song differently?
I mean, life is about learning. And then you learn, you study a book sometimes, you read a book sometimes, and at different levels of your life, like 5 years later when you read the same book, I said, oh, I didn't understand that time. I'm understanding something which, what she talks about or what he talks about differently. 20 years later, same way. You understand it differently. And same way with music also. I mean, some people prefer what I did in the very beginning. Some people prefer the later stuff. I mean, I prefer, what I'm doing recently than what not that I'm proud of my old work, but I also feel that many things have grown in me, and that's what gives me the energy to do more music. And so there is constant. I think it's good that people like different things, and as long as they like something, not bother about it. And yeah, so some of the stuff which I would have done differently, no. First of all, it's done. It's a strange, bad thought to think about it. Mixing wise, yeah. Mixing wise, I felt like some of the songs, due to limitations of budgets, maybe I would have used, electronic instruments. If I had the right instruments, certain instruments, I didn't even know how to find them. Like I used a kora, I used an oud that time, or samples. But then if I had the real player, to record a oud, you had to go to Dubai or Saudi Arabia that time. Or to record a kora, I had to go to Mali or Senegal that time, which was hard. So those are all like samples on the keyboards played. Now I feel like I could have done that with, for instance, even I wanted to mix Roja back again in its full glory without spoiling the what it is, because some of the sounds sound sampled, because even though it's sounding good, it could be much better because of limitations of budget or limitations of travel. And what we can. Now with the internet, we can get it all easy. It's much more easy to record an orchestra in Budapest or Macedonia or Senegal or Turkey or Dubai. So we can send the player and the player plays it and sends it back. So the texture is much more beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. It was great to know the process behind our favorite songs and favorite movies of all time. Sir, a lot of your songs have been released in multiple languages. There are different versions in different languages, including the legendary movies like Roja and Bombay. So, Francis has an interesting question. He wanted to know whether language plays an important role when you compose these songs. He says he enjoys Kehna Hai Kya as much as he enjoys Kandalane. So, are these songs different to you? How do you view it?
Yeah, I think each language has a flavor and there's a beauty in it, and the words have certain power. And I'm lucky that music is common in any language when you get the right lyric. But the challenge for us was once the movie is shot in a particular language, the other language, there are many limitations in the words you put because it has to match the lip. And so that was a torture. Still, that torture is unexplainable. Like, you want to say a particular word, but then the lip is going. If you do something without the lip sync, it looks like a dubbing movie. And for 99 songs, we had to go through the torture of asking each person to write almost 12, 13 times. Some of them even lost the patience. I said, we have to get it right, we have to get it right, we have to get it right. So, and that is why I think people are resonating with the Tamil and Telugu as much as the Hindi, because there's so much of hard work. And some of them have even superseded the Hindi one because they could see the songs in Hindi was done before picturization. But here they saw the picturization and their imagination was much more. Like people like Karki and Tamare have even excelled, Kabilan have excelled because they saw the song with the movie, so they could go with much more nuances and stuff.
Thank you, sir. The consistency you've showed over the years, your work since Roja to 99 and across languages, it's tremendous. So Soumya wants to know, how do you do it? How do you consistently keep giving your best of it?
I think establishing a trust in a brand is the most difficult thing, and that can never be bought. So when you have that, either you do it or you don't. If you can't do something with your heart in it, don't do it. Just be silent. So whether it's 100 or 0, there's no in between here. So there's no question of doing something just for the sake of money, or I just want to fill up the gap and do that. That's the worst decision anybody can take. So anything, whether you get paid or not, is 100%. So that is one thing which, in fact, when there's no money in something, when you're doing something with charity, it's even more, 3 times more work, because you have to bring everybody to that level of saying, this is not about money, this is about our life, this is about truth, this is about honesty. So might as well do it right, or don't do it, don't accept it. And so this has been our motto and principles of the studio and music, and a sense of sincerity of arriving at something which is even beyond yourself. The sincerity is beyond even the talent. I feel like sometimes we work, and when you see other people, and I talk to your director, they say, "Oh, this guy actually practiced for 38 days. He danced. He wanted 38 days of rehearsal for that." I said, "Wow." Indian actors, some of them. Recently, I spoke to Ahmed Khan. He said, "My hero Tiger wants 20 days rehearsal," and I said, "Wow, that's great." I mean, that proves that nothing comes easy. Nothing is a fluke. It all comes from dedication and trying to perfect and trying to excel yourselves and go to this on. So.
Thank you, sir. So next question is from Akshat Ram. We have often seen traces of classical music in a lot of your compositions. So how do you take inspiration from the classical music and bring it to the mainstream cinema, which is more commercial, can be sometimes commercial oriented? And also, what inspired you while composing songs like Khwaja Mere Khwaja and Maula Ve Salim, which are some of our personal favorites? So could you share with us the inspiration behind these compositions?
Classical music is our identity, like it's our culture beyond, and there is a truth in it. It is like an ocean where it's still, many of us have not even scratched the surface, and it has a certain form, it has a certain set ideas, but I feel like not very few of us have even scratched the surface, and there's so much of possibilities to go on, because I feel like in many different performances, the performer has reached unison with the divine, and whether it's Carnatic music or whether it's Qawwali music, whether it's instrumental, I think some of them are so gifted. You can see that there is unsaid connection, divine connection in classical music, and mostly in classical music, because there's a sense of satisfaction and content about that. It's unexplainable. Sometimes we lose the reality of money and fame and everything, and then we just go into that stuff. So it is that happiness which everybody is searching, which is hidden in classical music, especially when you're a performer. Regarding Maula and Khwaja, both the songs were actually made just for my listening, just for my love for Khwaja Saab, and because my son was to just encourage him to sing. I recorded it and I sent it to my friends, like, what do you think? And then they said, oh, it's very nice, cute, and all this stuff. Then one day Mani Ratnam came in and said, what is that song? It's Amin's song, give it to me, he said. With a sense of ownership, he said, give it to me. I'm like, how will you use it? You don't worry about that, I'll use it. And same way with Khwaja Mere Khwaja. I recorded and it was just there for a year. And then Ashutosh heard it and said, give it to me. And so it is beyond the movie. I think there was something There's sincerity in it, and I just wanted to do a song. And not every time you should just do a song for a movie and when you're commissioned. Sometimes you just do it for yourself. It's the biggest one. Like, so yeah.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Bollywood music is now in a transition period where the music kind of widely ranges from very pure melodies to TikTok to trend-worthy, catchy party tracks. And in the process, it has sort of become a little bit unoriginal too, because most of the music we see today are remakes, or they all follow a same pattern, which is more oriented towards creating a trend or a challenge. So, and all the big music banners today are also trying to push for this kind of music, so they can get the maximum profit out of it. So, how do you think the real Bollywood music is going to survive? This was a question from Anushka Agastya.
Yeah, I think for everything needs courage. Somebody courageous has to come and break the mold with a lot of conviction and as a wholesome experiment or wholesome artistic statement. So it can't be just done by the composer or the lyricist or the director alone. Teams have to be formed with an intention to become great, to do something great. And I think before the pandemic, I was worried about it. Like, is it all going very commercial? I feel like the pandemic has made us all realize that the speed of the world, which was going, very capitalistic, very consumeristic, it slowed down. And so I feel like there's a lot of free time for creative people to do amazing things. Established, non-established, or people who want to come and blow everybody's mind. So I'm not worried anymore. I feel like things are going to be good.
Thank you, sir. Your answers to all those audience questions were truly enlightening, and such a simple approach to life, I think, will really help us in these times. So we also got a lot of fun questions from the audiences. So we thought we'll have a quick rapid fire session with you. It will be pretty chill, sir.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so first question. So do you sing in the shower?
Sometimes, yeah.
So what songs are your go-to?
What song? I don't even remember.
So that's it. So which is your favorite place to work in? Collywood, Bollywood, or Hollywood?
Oh, God. Right. I think because I'm born here and all the resources are here in Chennai, and I like to work here most of the times. But I love going to Mumbai. I love going to Hollywood, and now and then, which actually meeting the energy of the people who are working there gives me a boost, and I become different. It triggers my imagination. I meet some really gifted people. Yeah.
Yes. So again, who's your favorite Indian music director? One from South Indian industry and one from North Indian, from Bollywood.
Wow, there's so many now.
Yes.
There's so many new people coming in, and sometimes I feel like I should just go away for like 5-6 years and come back and let all these people breathe and do some amazing things, which they're doing already. And so there are a lot of new talents coming in Chennai and even in Andhra and Malayalam and Mumbai. And I think the YouTube and Instagram is also I'm finding some amazing songwriters, Indian songwriters in New York and in places like Europe, and it's really nice to see the younger generation much more bolder now. And there's no waiting for other people to introduce them. They're introducing themselves, which is beautiful.
True, so it is a prosperous time for budding directors.
Yeah.
So one Tirukkural that you follow and want to tell youngsters to follow?
The line which is my favorite is Nunalum Tan Vayal Kedam. Like, the frog digs his own grave or something like that. Because it just keeps talking and then this self-destruction. It's like sometimes we have to be very careful in what we talk, and sometimes talking less and working more and developing your skills and developing your personality or your art is more important than.
Yes, so very apt. So which movie is closer to you? Your first film, Roja, or the Oscar-winning Slumdog Millionaire?
Right now, 99 songs.
Fair enough. So which is your most favorite song that has not been composed by you?
Oh, there's so many. Samjhawa, that song, that Punjabi song, that
Yes,
one.
yes.
Then there is so many of the past generation, like MSV, K.V. Madhavan, Roja, and even now Iman's song, Kannana Kanne.
Yes.
And then there is the Shankar Mahadevan's Dil Ka Tapish. It's a Marathi song, I think. Right? Then I keep forgetting, like it's like, oh, I should mention this, and I finally become blank. Maybe I should write it down next time. Yeah.
Yes. So the final question: with which musician in the world do you analyze the most? Do you find yourself comparing with, or you or you relate to the most?
Oh God. I think for me, in the last 3 decades, definitely Michael Jackson. I'm not that I'm relating to him, but
Yes.
when I listen to Michael Jackson music or even Nusrat Fateh music, both of them actually, I feel like I've become alive with energy and a will to do more. It comes from Nusrat Saab and Michael Jackson both.
That's really interesting. So with this, we have come to the end of the questions. But there is a final small request that our student community has. It is that you perform a small snippet, so just a small.
I will send you links of my performance. It's all over the YouTube. You can watch it.
But it's a different experience having you here live and perform.
Yeah.
I would be really grateful if you could do that.
I wish you all the very best, and God bless you. And thank you for this enlightening questions, and thank you so much.
So it's all right.
I'll prepare myself later. Okay.
Anyway, thank you so much, sir. It has been a pleasure talking to you, and it is an honor to have you here. With this, we do come to the end of the lecture. And I thank you on behalf of the entire community of IIT Madras for engaging with us tonight and energizing us with your talks and your very simple life lessons. And with that, we come to the end of the webinar, and I would like to thank Mr. A.R. Rahman for giving us a wonderful session. And also, this is the conclusion of the academic year EML Webinar Series. We started off with a great note by Ms. Indra Nui, and unfortunately, we are ending it off with Mr. A.R. Rahman, both one of the global worldwide legends. And we also like to thank the viewers for having supported us throughout the year. With this, I'm signing off. This is Nandika, and thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.